The youth center, community center, was originally a schoolhouse. My mom went to school here, elementary school.
Well, the old schoolhouse was kind of buried in trees.
Everything past Pine Avenue was woods.
I'm the granddaughter of Benny and Antoinette Scanio, who created the baseball diamond.
And we came out and started plowing down the field to make a field for kids to play because there was no place. Everything was, this used to be, the field out here used to be a fiddler flat, and it was a little place, and so we brought the bulldozer out here and cleared the field behind the school because that was one of the main places that was flat.
And it was created based on, in memory of, it's sad, but in memory of their son who passed away at around 6 years old.
After Benji died, Benny he went out and got all the back, the fencing and the backstops for the ball field, and came and put all that up. And a lot of the stuff that was on the ball field was World Lion cages and things because they were heavy metal. And everybody worked on it. All the local people would come up here, and it was a lot of fun for them because, there was Warren Spahn was here, and like I say, my father was here, and Ernie Cagnina was very involved in it. And
this was such a tight community. You would see everybody here at the youth center for all kinds of functions.
It went from being a youth center to kind of evolving into a community center so that they could get more community involvement.
It was a place where you could go and just make friends, play any kind of sports you wanted.
I joined the Little League out here, and this center was really the only place to go for a young person back in the day. It seems to be the same thing out here now as I come back out here. It's still a very vital part of the community.
I have a lot of special memories from the community center. I moved here back in 1970. I was in second grade, and my first experience was playing softball here. And I played softball here until I was too old to play softball anymore.
I spent so much time at this community center as a child. My teens, all the way up until I left the island.
So when I was about 14 or 15 years old, they used to have dances here and they had bands, and it was the old school building, and it had a big stage and everything. So if you were in a band, you loved playing on that big stage, because you're a little 15-year-old kid,
I took arts and crafts classes up on the stage back then.
The center back in that time was a real small building, and when we played basketball in there, you couldn't really shoot any farther than half court because the ceiling was so low, so a lot of times we'd play horse and actually shoot off the ceiling.
And we'd be up there taking art classes, and there'd be, the basketball teams would be practicing and everything right there. So we would have to yell over the basketball players.
Well, we had to start taping off rooms because they became unsafe because it was a wooden structure. I rented equipment and we went to town. We tore this old building down and started building the community center. We actually built it mostly with volunteers, with all the love from all the people that loved the community center. $150,000 that we raised and handed a free building over to the community center. So that was quite a feat.
The community center plays a vital part of our comprehensive plan. The provision of a community center is in fact included in our comprehensive plan. That's how much the city and our forefathers in this city have thought about it, to the fact that it wasn't included in there as part of something that the city had to provide to the residents. And the community center does a great job of fulfilling that portion of the comprehensive plan.
I made lifelong friendships out here. I still have really good friends from those days. We still see each other, and it's just seems like yesterday, really, to be honest with you.
I have many, many friends to this day that are lifelong friends of almost 40 years now.
My first wife I actually met here at the community center, which later we had married and had 2 kids that were very involved here.
My wife, my future wife, actually worked here before I met her. She was a counselor in the summertime.
The biggest influences I would say that came out of here for me were Mrs. Lease.
Loretta Lease was, oh my gosh, the woman was fabulous. She did everything for the kids.
That lady was a saint and put up with everybody's problems, chaos that we created. You know, she was just a true saint.
Mrs. Lease at that time, which had like 5 boys that went here, she worked here. I think she was the only paid employee at that time. We did everything pretty much volunteer.
Lorna Phelps, who was the principal of the school, then she became the principal of Anna Maria School.
People like Rick DiGiorgio were a huge influence on us. You know, you didn't realize it at the time because he was one yelling at you to stop doing that, or, you know.
The police chief back then, Shanafelt, taught us all how to sail, took us out to where Galati Marina is now, and taught us all how to sail out there. But we took all of our CPR and the basic sailing classes here at the youth center.
Our bus driver, Mrs. Cobb, Humbug's wife, she drove the school bus. She also ran a diving club, which I joined. I learned how to scuba dive when I was 16.
Ken Trent, who owned the Rod and Reel Motel at the time, was very involved here. His daughter Debbie and I were best friends, and he used to coach football, baseball, whatever he could. He was a big volunteer here, and he became a big part of my life through the youth center.
My best memories were helping coaching soccer, helping coaching basketball. Then I was like the cheerleader coach, which was a lot of fun. And I'd like to share a picture with you that I keep to this day in my office. This was my little cheerleading squad, and they made me this little magnet. And to this day, which this was back in 1998, and I keep it attached to my file cabinet at work every day.
I'll have kids that I coached come and see me play now, and they go, God, I remember when you were our coach, you were such an influential guy in our life and all that. So I like to remember that I always have great feelings for the community center and what they, where I've been with it and where it's going.
We raised our children on this island, and they enjoyed the community center immensely, especially with team sports. That was really the big item that brought us close to the community center. We then had the opportunity to come down here and watch our grandchildren participate. And it just, I can't tell you the feeling that we would get when we sat on the field and we watch our grandchildren do the same type of things that our children did a generation before.
My son, who just turned 22 today, he came up here and played soccer and baseball and all the different things and made lifelong friends, of which he's still friends with all those people.
I am to have a granddaughter who takes great advantage of this institution now, before school and after school. And I watch them, what they do for them and how they manage them, and her response to being here, and I think it's almost irreplaceable.
This past summer, I had our grandchildren for like 2 weeks, and a couple of days I didn't know what to do with them. And I was so grateful that I could come to the center and enroll them for a day or 2 days, you know, for special events that were going on. And they enjoyed it so much, and it was just a wonderful gift to have you so close by. And
I'm raising my son Tyler here. He and I happen to live in Anna Maria right now, and he has been coming to this community center since he was 4 years old, playing every sport that is here.
I got involved with the community center more so when my children were born. You know, after an event, a soccer event, or picking them up from after school care, or the summer camp, and then being part of the community center myself during all that time in the sporting activities. It was really great because, you know, we went home, you know, you talk about your day, you share your day, but I was a part of their day. And we talked about the whole day, and I was a part of it. It wasn't like I was hearing it for the first time. I got to live it with them. And I can't tell you how important. I would recommend anybody who can volunteer and spend time here with their children and be a part of the community center doing that. Best years of my life. And I don't want to start crying because that's how important it was to me.
Both of my sons, you know, played baseball, soccer. My oldest son was on the traveling soccer team here. We always took all the kids around and all that, and it was a great time in our life. And it's you look back sometimes, and those were the best years of your life, you know, when you do that.